Leaders in Internet media and the American-made movement. You're listening to Internet Radio America.
Coming to you live from the Mendocino Forest in Northern California. Parrots, People, and Pets. Your hosts this evening are Michael and Mandolin Cox. We would love to welcome the entire world all the way around the globe to our show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Good evening, peeps. Welcome to Parrots, People, and Pets. Tonight we've got, we've got a great show tonight. We've got a wonderful guest, and definitely you guys are going to want to stick around for this. Before we get started, first thing I want to say to all of you is, welcome to another day on the planet, you guys. Welcome to another day on the planet. We've got a couple notes I want to share with you first. First of all, we'd like to mention our sponsor, Tops Pellets at TotallyOrganics.com. And they are the folks that are making the fantastic bird food that we feed all of our pets. They're running a kind of a special right now, in a sense, is that when you go to their website and you place your order, if you put in the comments section, you just mention my name, Michael Cox, they will actually send you a free 1-pound bag of the pellets for free. That's with your order, okay? So please keep that in mind and please share that information with others. As I said, it's a fantastic food. We feed all of our babies this. We don't just plug them because they're our sponsor. We mention them because we use their product, and it's safe, no GMOs, 100% organic and natural, and I can't imagine me feeding my babies anything else. So please show them your support, and your fids deserve it, okay? They're a little more pricey, if you will, than most foods, but you know what? Don't your babies deserve that? I'm certainly hoping that you feel that way. So please, give them a chance, and I think you'd be pleasantly surprised. On Wednesday, beginning Wednesday, February 5th at 7 p.m., there's a brand new show that's coming together, and it's called One Team America, and it's hosted by Mr. Frank Crumley, and it encompasses veterans in crisis, American-made businesses, and Main Street America, kind of all together. It's going to be a very good, informative show, covering several different mediums, as I just mentioned, and we ask for your support. Lend us your ears, okay, if you will, you guys, and feel free to call in and mention ideas. You're going to hear some super fantastic ideas of what people are doing for veterans, okay, coming back from overseas, what American-made business people are doing, and to help encourage them. And Main Street America is about bringing awareness back to people to go back downtown, so to speak, and support your Main Street America businesses. Don't let them fold up. So many pictures I've seen with the boards on the windows and things like that. You know, show them your support, man. It's your city, it's your community. These are your neighbors, okay? So please show them your support, and please tune in 7 p.m. Eastern Time, beginning Wednesday, February 5th on Internet Radio America. All right? One Team America. On Tuesday evenings, hosted by my brother Tony Chance out of Hawaii, is Main Street America. And that show is also about bringing back downtown America businesses, keeping them from folding up, supporting them, encouraging them, and being a part of your own community in reference to supporting your neighbors in your own backyard that are trying to make it in business and trying to do it right. So please support them. Sundays, Parrots, People, and Pets, which you're listening to now. And after that is Global Therapy. And tonight, Global Therapy is going to be a continuation of what we've been doing for a couple of weeks, and we've found that it's working out really, really well, too. And the theme is basically sharing information about how having a pet in your life, how it's changed your life, the good that it's done for you, and to be able to share those stories. And the reason why I'm kind of taking a turn on this show just a little bit for a while is that, I think that it's really about time that we start using media to be able to take and actually share some really good stuff that's going on in the world, okay? And I can't think of a better subject right now than to share what it means to give your heart love, protection, and caring, okay, to an animal, whether it be a parrot, a dog, a cat, a wolverine, a camel, an emu, you name it. But bottom line is what that beautiful, delicious exchange makes us feel. And to be able to share that with people and just make them feel just a little bit better about having another day on this planet. So Global Therapy tonight, once again, is to encourage good, to encourage love, to encourage heart, and to share, okay? So there's no reason to be shy, all right? You can call in 617-381-4700. You don't even have to say what your name is. But share something beautiful, man, that people in 190 countries can go, you know what? It might even just encourage them to maybe, if they haven't done it for a while, walk over and pick up their pet and hold them, okay? Put their arms around them and say, oh, gee, it's been a couple of days, I didn't even realize it. When's the last time I said I love you? Just little simple, tiny things like that. But that's the kind of stuff that keeps your heart beating, or at least it does mine. So we're looking forward to having you join us on Global Therapy tonight, right after Parrots, People, and Pets. Mandolin, are you around?
Yes, we are very excited to have Kristen Lugley on the show with us after the first break. She is the founder of NUBS, which stands for No Unwanted Birds, and she is going to explain to us what she does and how it got started. It's really a beautiful, precious story, and I think those of us that have and work with handicap or special needs birds will especially relate. Animal lovers in general, I think, will absolutely love the story and the organization, so please stick around. For those of you that aren't familiar with NUBS, please go to www.nounwantedbirds.org. And we want to give a shout-out to some of the birds that we know are listening. Scarlet, Krusty, Gizmo might be listening, Loose, Bob, Cleo, Buddy. We know Nubs is listening, Cuddles, Junior, and I've got Bugla, our military macaws, with me, and she's monitoring the show. So we have a few topics to discuss before we go to break and have our guests join us, so I'll try and make it kind of quick. You may want to get out a pen or pencil for this kind of information. We're going to talk about fruits and veggies that you need to buy organic and which ones are the safest to buy non-organic. Of course, everything is healthier when bought organic, if it truly is organic, but some of us do not have the means or the money to do so. There's all kinds of situations where people are not able to get organic fruits and veggies for their pets or themselves. However, there are some fruits and veggies that really need to be bought organically. The first of these is apples. Apples are very nutritious for our parrots, but unfortunately, they are one of the most contaminated fruits when it comes to pesticides. And the FDA even warns against overexposure to the pesticides used in the apples, like DDT and permethrin. We talked a little bit about this last week. If you soak your fruits and your veggies in vinegar and water before you serve them, apples can use about an extra hour, maybe an hour and a half of soaking than would your other fruits and vegetables. And we discussed that mixture should be 1 part vinegar to 4 parts water. And actually, we have a caller on the line already. Caller, who are we speaking with? Is there anyone on the line?
Looks like they dropped off, so keep going.
Okay. Well, looks like you got disconnected. If you want to call back in, try again. So we're talking about the mixture that you should use to wash your fruits and veggies. 1 part vinegar to 4 parts water. Once you take the apples out, you'll be able to actually see all of the gunk that comes off of it. It's we've done it here a few times. Sometimes we are not able to get organic apples. When we get unorganic apples, we definitely wash them with apple cider vinegar and water. And by washing your fruits and veggies in a mixture like that, it actually also helps to extend the life of your produce for a little bit, so they last a little bit longer without spoiling. Number 2 on the list, apricots should be bought organically. These guys aren't far behind apples when it comes to the use of pesticides. The same with bell peppers, blueberries, and carrots. Carrots are exposed to more than 26 toxic pesticides. Celery isn't very far behind carrots, and neither are grapes. And kale is known to be one of the most nutritional veggies on the planet. But did you know that kale is on the list of the 10 most pesticide-contaminated fruits and veggies in the United States? And lemons and limes aren't far behind kale, and neither is lettuce. Mushrooms are loaded with pesticides, and they can't be washed off. Nectarines have a very thin skin, and so a lot of these pesticides used on those guys are absorbed into the fruit. Olives, peaches, pears, potatoes, beets, spinach, and strawberries. These are all fruits and veggies that you should really try to buy organic. If you can't, then try and do the vinegar wash. But there are some fruits and veggies that are not exposed to pesticides, but are not necessarily organic, like watermelon. They have such a thick exterior that they hardly need any pesticides. And if they are sprayed with pesticides, it won't make it into the actual fruit. If it does, it will be very, very little. So watermelon is a good thing. If your birds like watermelon, that's great. And it doesn't necessarily need to be organic. Sweet potatoes are a veggie that rarely is treated with pesticides, as well as pineapples. Pineapples have a thick exterior too. So even if they were treated with pesticides, just like the watermelon, none or very little would actually get to the fruit. And peas, which is good news for us because our birds love peas. These guys are exposed to a lot of pesticides, but they do not retain much of the residue, and the pesticides are not absorbed through the external pods at all. Onions are also rarely exposed to pesticides, although you don't hear of many people feeding their birds onions. Mangoes contain a very minimal amount of pesticides, as do kiwis and grapefruit. So these are all good things, and fruits and veggies that you don't necessarily need to worry about buying organically. Any of the pesticides that grapefruit is exposed to remains on the peel. Corn retains very little pesticide residue, although most corn is genetically modified, and that's a whole different subject for another time. We've had discussions on that, but asparagus is hardly ever exposed to pesticides, and that's because bugs don't like it. So farmers don't even need to keep the bugs away from it, so there's no use for pesticides there. If you do buy fruits and veggies that are not organic, it's a good idea to remove the skin from your produce after you wash it, just in case, even though it's kind of a pain, to eliminate even more pesticide residue that can still be lingering. And there are also such things as commercial produce washes that you can soak and wash your produce in that are effective and safe. You can find those in your produce section at any regular grocery store. Another thing that I wanted to talk about after this was the importance of rituals, why they're important with your pet. Rituals create predictability, and parrots like that because it helps them be more secure, and they enjoy being able to anticipate with certainty what is going to happen next. In the wild, they have an innate need to feel safe, and the issue of predictability is closely related to that. And most things are predictable in the wild. The sun rises, the sun sets, the other animals around them behave in predictable ways. They forage for food, they rest, and then they forage again. The only thing in the wild that really isn't exactly predictable are the predators. One way that you can create predictability is by using a language ritual, which we do. when you feed your bird, say something like, "Are you hungry?" or "Breakfast time." When you serve your bird water, maybe say "Water," or "Are you thirsty?" When you approach them, you can say "Hello," or when you leave, say "Goodbye." Bedtime rituals are especially reassuring. Treats work especially well, like giving your bird a bedtime almond or a snack before they go to bed. And before you leave the room, tell them good night. And morning rituals are just as important, and so is including your parrot in social gatherings, if you're able to. Parrots are very social creatures, most of them, and making them a part of social activities helps them to create a better sense of safety. You can try a tabletop perch, or a basket can be used to bring your bird to the table during meal times. He can go in the shower with you, the shower perch. These kinds of rituals can be used to help an insecure, stressed out, or highly anxious bird. One of the most powerful things you can do for those kinds of birds, especially a young bird, is to feed him warm, soft, nutritious food from a spoon at least once a day. It really does help. If your bird is frightened of someone in the family, it helps for that person to begin the ritual of maybe singing and talking to the bird on a daily basis, because in the wild, predators never vocalize when they are stalking their prey, and the bird will realize that you mean no harm. Phobic birds do better in a small cage because it makes them feel more secure. Sometimes it can be a good idea to drape the cage with a sheet with only the front open, so the bird only has to deal with things that are in front of his cage. And most phobic birds do better unclipped, which means you should be extra careful when you work with them, of course. And we've only got a few minutes to break, and I just wanted to mention something really quick. I just wanted to talk about the importance of the perches that you put in your parrot's cage. We all know that they play a very important role in the health of our bird's beak, feet, and claws, and birds are made to chew. So you should think of your parrot's perches as disposable. Perches made from trees are the most desirable perches, but of course, only certain woods are safe for parrots. Exotic, ornamental garden plants are most of the time toxic. Trees with sap that is milky and white, you definitely want to avoid. Australian native trees are good trees to stick with because we know that they don't poison our native birds. Rough bark is better than smooth bark. They say that rougher bark is like wearing Dr. Scholl's sandals because they massage the soles of your feet. The best trees for perches are bottlebrush, wattle, paper bark, iron bark, and manzanita.
Yeah, manzanita is what we mostly use here. And you guys, you guys know about Rodney, our big, huge green wing. We've got him right where he wants us. Well, this guy, when it comes to chewing and destroying, he's one day I believe he's going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records chomping bird because, he can bring down a perch or a toy pretty fast. So we found that manzanita is a really good hardwood, that's going to last. And we've tested this on Rodney. And believe it or not, it's very durable, it's very safe, and they're not going to chew through it in the middle of the night and you wake up and jump out of your bed like an epileptic jackrabbit and going, what in the world just hit the bottom of the cage and break out? We had that happen a couple of times with some other perches that we had that you just never know, you see them chewing on it during the day and stuff, thinking, it's cool, he's only about halfway through, we've got a couple more days, and then all of a sudden, boom. So we decided, let's use a little bit of logic here, and let's use a little bit of basically what we have observed, and let's do this right. So Mouse is mentioning a lot of different types of woods that are safe for perches and things of that nature. But if you've got a larger bird or whatever that just loves to chew, just loves to rip and just how, you know what I'm saying, man, then I would recommend manzanita. Go on, Mouse.
Yeah, manzanita is a good one. Perches should be wide enough so that your bird's feet are evenly spread over the top of the perch. To give you an idea, finches and canaries should have a perch the size of a broomstick. The perch for Gala is another bird. That size should be 2 to 3 inches in diameter. And we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we have Kristen Lugler down the line with us, and we're very excited to stay tuned. Have a problem with your parrot, your dog, your cat?
Totally organic parrot food is all natural, organic, nothing artificial added, no GMOs of any kind. Every single one of the ingredients of Top Pellets is healthy to feed by itself. As pellets, the parrots do not get to pick out a single ingredient, but get the whole symphony. Though pellets by themselves are never the solution, parrots need fresh food, nuts, seeds, and a good pellet. Our motto is simply this: variety in moderation, and you have a healthy, happy parrot. TotallyOrganics.com, 1-866-867-2473.
Does this look familiar? Bending, stretching, standing on one leg, trying to wash your feet. There has to be an easier way. Introducing the FootMate system, the podiatrist recommended safe and easy way to refresh, restore, and renew your feet every day. With gentle inner bristles that clean and massage your soles, and stiffer outer bristles to smooth rough skin, the FootMate system not only gets your feet clean, it also keeps them healthy. The secret to the FootMate system is the rejuvenating gel, a natural antiseptic blend of oils and conditioners that smooths rough skin, helps eliminate cracked heels, and leaves your skin feeling silky smooth. Perfect for the shower or tub. The FootMate stays securely in place. Give your feet the attention they deserve. Order the FootMate system today.
Go to footmate.com. Order your FootMate system today. 100% American made.
Can't seem to find the right size wrench? Are you tired of searching for the right tool? Introducing the Loggerhead Bionic Wrench. It's 14 wrenches in one. Any size, just squeeze and turn. The patented design produces a powerful mechanical advantage. Pliers and adjustable wrenches can strip the corners, but that won't stop the Bionic because it grips on all 6 sides. Simply squeeze and turn. American made and a proven winner. No more guessing. Easy to use. Adjusts like a pliers. The Bionic wrench is 14 wrenches in one. Everyone needs one. At home or on the road. With the patented gripping power, the Bionic grips them all. It's a gripping experience. Thousands of uses for the Bionic wrench. Makes a great gift for everyone on your holiday list. 100% American made. Lifetime guarantee.
Leaders in Internet media and the American-made movement. You're listening to Internet Radio America.
Welcome back, peeps, to Parrots, People, and Pets. Got Kristen coming up with this, just about now. Kristen, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Well, hello and welcome to Parrots, People, and Pets, most excellent soul. Mandolin has a couple things she wants to speak with you about. Once again, my name is Michael Cox, and welcome to another day on the planet, and thank you for doing what you do for birds, and we love you out here from the Mendocino Forest. Mandolin?
Hi, Kristen. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh, no, thank you. We're so excited to be here.
There's a lot of people that are really excited to have you on the show. So there may be
we called in a few fans.
Yeah. There might be a few people listening that are not aware of what you do. So can you tell our listeners what NUBS is, who NUBS is, what NUBS stands for?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Well, NUBS is now an organization. NUBS stands for No Unwanted Birds, and we are a nonprofit social welfare organization, and our mission is to build resiliency in abused and traumatized children, and we do this through the inspirational story of our birds who have, and some other animals who have bravely given life a second chance. And the reason why we call ourselves NUBS is we named ourselves after my bird, NUBS, who is a handicapped parakeet who was rescued last year from the home of a hoarder in Aurora, Illinois. So there were about 500 birds in that home. About 150 of them had already died, but we got 368 out alive. and Nubs was one of them. And to be honest, the reason I adopted him, well, first of all, when we met, we had an instant connection. He and I are truly, truly best friends. But when I met him and we had this great bond, truly my initial idea for him is that I was going to be providing hospice. These birds were severely inbred, not in good shape, very sickly. And I thought, maybe he's got a few months to live and I can provide him a better end-of-life experience. And so I took two of the most inbred birds. Their handicaps are from being inbred. It's a genetic, inbreeding problem of missing extremities. And I really thought I could just help them, just finish out life. And to my surprise, he's still here, thriving. And actually, to an even greater surprise, he is the friendliest bird you ever want to meet. And so I've been volunteering with kids, and I've had therapy animals for a long, long time. And so when I started just talking about him to these kids that I work with anyway, they were so excited about his story, and they kept asking me questions like, why doesn't he hate people, and why is he friendly, and isn't he scared because he's been sick, and things like that I realized, this bird's got a story to tell. And so that's really kind of where it all started from, was he just surprised me, and when I realized what an amazing creature he was, we wanted to share it. And so that's really what kind of started the whole thing off. And I'll be honest, it's grown so much bigger than I ever anticipated. I mean, I knew I was crazy about Nubs. I didn't anticipate that the world was going to be crazy about Nubs. He's not my bird anymore. He belongs to 1,700 fans on Facebook now. And so it's, pretty fantastic experience.
So that's really amazing. That kind of answered my question as to how it all began. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about the book that you wrote?
Yeah, I can. And actually, I should say, in terms of kind of going back to where it began from, it was like we went through this experience. We rescued him. We did this stuff, and it was like, okay, we're not done yet. The birds, somebody was chatting about it. 340 of the parakeets ended up at the Washington Park Zoo in Michigan City, Indiana. But we knew these birds, they're inbred, they're sick, so we know that there's a genetic load on them that wouldn't exist in a normal population of birds. So we knew there'd be medical care. We knew they needed a better space than what they had. And so we're like, well, how are we going to pay? How are we going to pay for that? What are we going to do? So I kind of gathered up with my fellow volunteers, and I thought, you know what? I kind of want to tell this story. And my mom was the one that convinced me to put it in a book. And I thought, if I'm going to write a book and sell this book, I don't really want to make money. I have a day job and stuff. So I thought, okay, maybe I could use the sales of that book and I could pay for the Washington Park Zoo. I could upgrade the aviary and we could pay for some of these medical expenses. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that the government kind of cares about that. Fortunately, before we got in any trouble, we realized, what, we need to make an organization. So again, I just kind of gathered up my fellow volunteers and it kind of all happened at once. We wrote this book. We wanted to help these birds in the aviary. And then a bunch of my friends, they knew I was volunteering with kids, and they're kind of like, well, can we come do that too? So over time, we've got about a dozen volunteers now in our organization. I don't do this alone. People, I think, kind of think it's just me because they see me on the Facebook page, but we're kind of a machine. We have a board of directors. We have a bunch of volunteers. There's all kinds of people doing work here behind the scenes. So that's kind of the background a little bit on the book and kind of where we are now. And the book itself, people are always interested in the book, and what I really want to do in the book was tell the true story. So there's nothing in the book that you read that didn't actually happen. So yeah, when Nubs and I met on that first day, we instantly fell in love with each other. Every day I came back, we wanted to be together. And it was really tough because he was under a quarantine at first. All the birds were under quarantine. And then, I applied to adopt, and I was adopting a handicapped bird. So that application had to be pretty scrutinized, and I waited 30 days to find out if I was going to get him or not. And if it was all going to work out. So the whole thing about me being there on Thanksgiving Day, that's absolutely true. I did come there and I spent Thanksgiving with them, and I spent from chirping in the background. Yes, no, he verifies it's true. And the way that you see him talking to me on the videos and showing off for me in the book and things like that, that's absolute fact. You can hear him talking now because I'm talking. So yeah, we didn't want to just tell a made-up story. We wanted to tell a real story. Because that's honestly a once-in-a-lifetime thing that's ever happened with me. I rescue a lot of animals, have a lot of therapy animals, and none of them are quite like Nubs. So we just felt like we had a special bond there that I think is unique, and that we wanted to tell that story in a way that children would enjoy it, but be truthful. And so that's what we did.
You were saying that you rescue other animals too. Do you bring them with Nubs when you go places? Is it kind of like a team?
Actually, we are a team. Nubs, not to bum anybody out, but after Nubs got his therapy certification, it was only maybe a month or so after that he was diagnosed as being terminally ill. And before anybody gets upset over Nubs, he's been undiagnosed terminally ill. He had a very expanded, he had a large heart that was diagnosed as heart disease. But later on, we found out that actually it was pneumonia, and his lungs were overworking so badly that his heart was enlarging. As we fixed up his lungs and his lungs healed, the heart got smaller. So it was a big moment for us on Facebook, and I think a lot of people were shedding tears with us online. I know a lot of people that are calling in tonight shed a few tears with us of joy that he's not considered terminally ill anymore. So that was a huge deal. But because of his fragile health, bouts of pneumonia, this is before we really realized how much of a long-term illness he was going to have. I can't take him out and visit with kids anymore. So that's all done by video and with the book. But my other birds, I have a number of other birds that are on our volunteer group that we call the Nub Squad. But a lot of our other people come out too. So when we go out live, it's not just my birds. There's a number of other birds that belong to other volunteers. We all go out together, and we have really strict rules actually about our training, about our disease testing policies, about safety, to make it a really safe environment. So we would never, I have therapy dogs too. I would never bring my therapy dogs out with my therapy birds. That's dangerous, But we also have a therapy tortoise in our group. It's not my tortoise, but it's a tortoise. He can come out with us. So it really just depends on the animal and how they're socialized with the other animals. So sometimes we're a mixed species group, and most of the time we're just birds.
Right.
Because birds really are the perfect kind of creature for doing therapy work.
Oh, I definitely agree. And for those of our listeners that don't know, Nubs is a therapy animal. What exactly does that mean?
So what it means is that he's actually certified with a group called Pet Partners, and they normally do dogs, so it kind of threw them off. I mean, I think he's the first parakeet they've ever certified. But what it means is that he is, and other birds that we have too that are certified, are they're predictable, they're reliable, they're friendly, but yes, you're friendly, Nubs, but they also remain calm and neutral in an environment. They don't respond overtly to noise or being startled. It doesn't mean that you just hand your bird over to someone and let them play with him. Again, we guard these birds very, very carefully. But what it means is that they actually like meeting strangers. They like meeting new people. And when kept in a safe environment, that it's something that they enjoy doing. And that's something I really stress for all the birds in our troop, enjoy meeting people. We don't just bring out birds for people to look at them. Yeah. It's because the bird wants to interact and have an experience.
And so what do you have to go through what did you have to go through personally to get Nubs certified that way?
Well, because I'm already certified with several of my other animals, I belong to a therapy animal troop. And so, in our case, we were able to do the evaluation locally, and it's about a 30-point test. It's not for every animal. And actually, there's been some recent changes in that program that I would never do with nubs. For example, now they want every bird in a harness. Well, I can't put a harness on him. That wouldn't make sense. So what we've done instead in the nub squad is that we've actually developed our own training and our own policies and procedures that are actually a lot stricter than any others that I've seen. And the idea of that is because we really want to focus on birds, we just feel like there's a lot. I think you got beaks and claws involved. You got to be careful, Yeah. So we have a lot of additional rules for that. So now we're kind of doing our program of training our own volunteers, and then we also carry our own insurance as well. So I would never recommend that someone just take their bird and walk into a retirement home, for example. I think people really do need to undergo some training, and they need to be, really aware of the best practices and procedures for doing this type of work.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm just imagining that something just went through my head real quick. Kristen was about going into, retirement homes or rest homes and stuff like that.
Yeah, which we don't, by the way. That's one of our policies.
Yeah, I can just see Mabel sitting there, and I walk in with Rodney, my big green-winged macaw, and I can see people jumping up out of the wheelchair going, Frank, we got a pterodactyl in here.
Yeah, well, and the thing with birds is that you have to remember that they're the first thing a bird is going to lead with when they're exploring their own environment is their beak. They're going to use their beak and they're going to use their feet. That's what they have to work with. And so when you're dealing with an elderly person, what happens as you get older, your skin gets a lot thinner. Yeah. And so a bite to a senior and the introduction of a potential infection could be an absolute disaster. So I think even more standards are really important when you're working with seniors. Again, my group doesn't, but also it doesn't fit our mission. Our mission is to work with children. So that's where we specialize, and that's what we're good at. So that's what we do. But with children, I won't go through the laundry list of rules that we have about working with kids, but it's extensive. We have a number of elementary schools and middle schools in our area here, and we take our birds in, and it's really cool to be able to take and walk into a gymnasium and have kindergartners all the way through 6th grade, just hundreds of these guys sitting on the floor out there and being able to just simply gaze upon these birds that they normally would only see in a movie or a video or something and just, what gets me the most is how wide-eyed they get, and you can just see that that probably there's going to be some of these guys when they grow up are going to be doing what you and I do. I absolutely love that. That's one of the biggest treats that I have is being able to show small children these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful spirits in bird clothing and to help encourage them that maybe one day that some of them step up and want to take care of these beautiful, beautiful creatures and enjoy their moments with them. Yeah, and in our case, we're even a little bit different than that in that we have a resiliency building program, and so what our program is designed to do is to tell the stories of these animals in a way that is child appropriate, but because we're working with kids who have been through a trauma, and in some cases just general populations of kids. But our real mission in this is, raise your hand if you've never had anything bad happen to you, right? Now raise your hand if anyone ever told you that someday you're going to go through something bad, but that you're going to be okay. You got this and you're going to be fine. And that's really the heart of our program. Some of these kids have been through really horrific things. And it's hard to go in and tell them about another kid. What really resonates with them is because birds are smart, and because birds want to socialize, they can relate to these guys. They want to interact. So you grab their attention because they're birds and they're cool, and then you hold their attention because there's a story of these animals that these kids can relate to. They've been mistreated too, and they now are in foster care, for example, and they could have another chance too. And so we use a nub, for example, to say, look at this little guy. He should hate people. He should want to bite you. He should be fearful. He should run away from you. But you know what? Something in his little mind has made a decision that he's going to own his own thoughts, and that he's going to give this life a second chance, no matter what. And he's going to look at life in a positive way.
Listen, stay with us, and we'll be right back. This is a beautiful interview. We'll be right back, folks. Stay with us.
Need therapy but can't afford to sit on the couch of a therapist's office for answers? Tune in to Global Therapy, the most therapeutic show on the planet. Heal your heart and mind by listening to others and sharing your own issues. So many people in the world today suffer with emotional problems that can be solved without having to spend a fortune.
Begin to live a better life and see the world in a brighter light. Hosted by Michael Cox of the Global Nest Exotic Bird Sanctuary, every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right after Parrots, People, and Pets on InternetRadioAmerica.com.
Totally organic parrot food is all natural, organic, nothing artificial added, no GMOs of any kind. Every single one of the ingredients of top pellets is healthy to feed by itself. As pellets, the parrots do not get to pick out a single ingredient, but get the whole symphony. Though pellets by themselves are never the solution, parrots need fresh food, nuts, seeds, and a good pellet. Our motto is simply this: variety in moderation, and you have a healthy, happy parrot. TotallyOrganics.com, 1-866-867-2473.
Leaders in Internet media and the American-made movement. You're listening to Internet Radio America.
Welcome back, everybody, to Parrots, People, and Pets. We're speaking with Kristen Luswig. She is the founder of Nubs, No Unwanted Birds. Check out her site, nounwantedbirds.org. She also wrote the book. She was telling us a bit about it earlier. I believe it's called Nubs, A Little Bird with a Big Story. Kristen, where can people purchase your book?
The best place to go is actually through our website. It's I think you've already posted it here, www.nounwantedbirds.org. And if you look in the tabs on the left, it's called the Nubs Store. And really what you're doing is it's a donation in exchange for a product is how we're set up. So we're all volunteers. We don't make any money off of this. It just goes back into, right now we're working to pay for, we want to do more educational tools with the kids that we work with. And that's the kind of things that we're using the money for. And I think you can also maybe link to it through our Facebook page, but for sure you can get through our website.
Okay. And so you were mentioning earlier something, you were talking about the Nub Squad. Can you tell us a little more about the Nub Squad and what they do?
Sure. So we are again, we're an all-volunteer group. There's about a dozen of us, and we are in the Chicagoland area. And we bring our birds and other animals into places like group foster homes, libraries, and schools. So we really are honing in on children to share the stories of the animals and hopefully inspire them that they, too, can get past these hardships. So typically what we do is we go in, we read our story, we talk a little bit about what the story means and how people might learn lessons from the story. And then we open it up for discussion. And you'd be amazed with these kids, the questions they have, but also the insights they have. And it's a really positive experience. And then we very carefully had a time when they can meet the birds. But again, we have multiple handlers per each bird to ensure their safety. And it's, one kid approaching the bird at a time. And it's all done according to what that particular bird is interested in, what kind of interaction that they have. So we have a bird who likes to play the hokey pokey with kids, and there's other birds that don't mind being petted, and there's a little bird that named Remy, who likes to be held if he's in the palm of your hand, things like that. So it really is very specific to the bird. We never try to get children to approach the bird if they don't want to. We bring bags of feathers. So if they want to touch the bird but not touch a bird, they're more than welcome to do that. I would definitely encourage people that are doing this type of thing never to try to coax a child to touch a bird. You don't want anything to, it's not good for the kid, it's not good for the bird. Right. Oh, and somebody just sent in, what are the age levels of the children? We'll see children of all ages, but I think the Nub story is best suited for kids that are grade school age and up. Interestingly enough, I have not found the cutoff point for the Nubs book. Adults like it too, and I've got some teenagers that I work with that love it as well. So it kind of depends on the person, I think. But, certainly when you get to like toddler age, they think the birds are cute, but they're not necessarily understanding the message.
And so where can people find you on Facebook?
Yeah, we're just called Nubs. So if you go on Nubs and look for a little parakeet sitting in a director chair, the director chair says Nubs, that's us. And we're a community page, so you just click like and you're in. And I saw a few people had posted the link to our Facebook page on the chat tonight as well. So that will be another way to get to it. And yeah, once you're in, you'll pretty much see me and the stuff that goes on in my house. We have a really loyal group of people who are on there. I really think we probably have the nicest. Oh, somebody just posted it again. I think we really, truly have the nicest Facebook page on the planet Earth. I've never seen a Facebook page with a nicer audience than ours. We have no negativity. Nobody's taking pot shots at anybody. It's a very light, fun place. It's a child-friendly page. So we always ask everyone to, watch the language and watch for child appropriateness, because we do have kids who follow along, especially with their teachers and parents. And our only rule is nobody act too big and nobody act too small. I'm not a bird expert. I'm not an animal expert. I'm not an expert in anything. I'm just showing you stuff that we do in our house. I actually prefer not to give people recommendations on things to do with their birds. There's things like this show. There's other places that are better avenues for that kind of information. What we're pretty good at is socializing with our animals, and we're good at being really silly. And so that's really what ours is about. And I think people do find inspiration in these stories, that we're having a blast. And, we really enjoy the participation with everybody. I like to think we give people permission to be as goofy as they want to be. And if they want to try to out-silly me, good luck. That's kind of our mantra. We really have a blast, and I think everybody kind of joins in the imagination and joins in the fun. And, there's plenty of other times in life where you can get a little more serious. This is a time to feel a little inspired, a little uplifted, and just goof around a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, and I did recently adopt a pig, and somebody's asking on here, will Pumbaa, that's my pig, be visiting children? Pumbaa will be visiting children if he gets through adolescence with being as terrific as he is today. We're training him real hard now in that hopes that we can, socialize him to that point. If he's appropriate for it, he will. And also, if the birds aren't scared of him. My birds aren't scared of him, but we have a lot of other birds in our program too. So we just take it day by day. We don't have a requirement of adopting animals that they would be therapy animals. They come in, they are who they are, and the ones who are appropriate will end up visiting with kids, and the ones who aren't will hang out in my house. we have a mix. Not all of our animals are therapy animals.
Yeah. So, can you tell us about the daily life of Nubs the parakeet? I mean, when you guys are at home, and this really...
A lot of millet. No, I know it's not what you're looking for. He's trying to tell you. I don't know if you guys can actually hear him in the background, but he's chirping along to all these answers, which is kind of humorous. Nubs is on a lot of medications. He has medication 2 times a day, every day for the rest of his life. Yes, he's not happy about that, as you can hear. A lot of them are liquid medications, and so they're a little hard on his feathers. So Nubs will go through cycles where, his feathers will drop, they'll grow back in, they'll drop, they'll grow back in. No matter how much you try to soak it off, it's a mess, So, but he doesn't mind taking his medicine. He always looks worse than he feels. He has a normal buggy life. He has a specially made cage, because he is handicapped, and his cage-made Freckles is handicapped. They fall a lot. They don't perch well. So everything on there is flat ledges. He gets sores on his feet, or on his foot, and on his nub a lot. So, he has special creams, and we cover everything in moleskin, and that has to be changed out every day. I do clean his cage twice a day, and I know this sounds extreme, but I think Nubs has conquered Giardia. He's conquered mouth infections. He's conquered pneumonia. We've been hit with everything you can hit, and part of that I think is extreme sterilization. That cage gets cleaned twice a day, no matter how. If I'm tired, if I'm sick, it doesn't matter. I also sterilize my hands every time before I touch him or anything that has to do with his cage. So his food, his food bowls. He's on a water bottle, so he's not, getting funk in the water. But everything, I actually watch my own cleanliness, with anything that I touch of his. And I really do think that keeping things clean has actually saved his life. We also don't watch his behavior for whether, he goes to the vet all the time anyway, about monthly, but we don't assume that he's feeling okay by how he acts because he hides it well, like any bird. He's weighed every single day. And if it's more than a 2-gram swing, we're going to the emergency vet. And that saved his life more than once. So I am a big proponent of weighing my birds, and so I don't look for their symptoms. I look for their weight, and I'm talking up or down. One time he had gained several grams immediately, and it was pneumonia. It was the fluid in his lungs increasing his weight. So it doesn't mean not just a downward drop in weight, but an upward gain in weight can also be an indicator. So that's kind of our daily life. I mean, Nubs and I spend a lot of time together. We hang out, we read books, we watch movies. There's a lot of times, we only see on the Facebook page snippets of our life, but, you see 1-minute clips. But really, they're kind of with me all the time.
One of the things that you mentioned, Kristen, was regarding the weight, and that's something that I've tried to stress to people, too, that peeps, you guys know that sometimes it can take anywhere to 5 to 7 days for a bird to finally drop off the perch because in the wild, genetically, they will hang out and appear that they're doing as fine as humanly possible in order to avoid the chance of being taken down by a predator. So we do that as well, too. You weigh your birds, man, and if you see a difference in weight, 9 times out of 10, like Kristen mentioned, you see a big change here, you get them to the vet, and you can save their life as opposed to waiting until it's too late when you're thinking, oh, the bird is doing fine, but he's been docile for a couple of days, but he's okay.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, and we take no chances with him. He's really important to me. He's important to all of us, just like all my birds are. And honestly, you get that gut feeling. We don't have a let's wait till morning policy. I mean, we know where our emergency avian vet is. He's a 24-hour vet. We're very lucky that we have a really great vet who is totally in this with us. And so they know if I'm calling in the middle of the night, like, let's go, let's figure out what's going on. They've saved his life many, many times. And, again, his genetics work against him. He, in the long run, he's not going to be a long-lived bird. But I've had him over a year, and that is so much more time than I ever would have asked for. So we're just so grateful for every single day we get. As long as he has quality life, I'll keep him going. If his quality of life is suffering, I also would not hesitate to euthanize him. And I know that sounds terrible, but I think it's really important for bird owners to understand that, you don't let a bird suffer either. So we're in it to fight the fight with him. But again, when it's Nubs' time, it's Nubs' time, and then he'll let me know when it's time. So that's something we're always careful about in our page. We're very honest with them. We always let people know when we're going to the vet. We let him know when he's sick. We let him know what's going on because we don't want our fans to be stunned that, this is not a bird that's going to live to be, a 10-year-old parakeet. We're very, very grateful to have him every day that we have him. And, that's the best we can do for him.
Look at the wonderful things that this little tiny bird, Kristen, has done for you and done for so many other people out there. This little bird is a superstar. He's a fantastic bird, and he's brought a lot to a lot of people, and a lot of love to a lot of people who've never even gotten to meet him. And we should all, as human beings, hope for that. As a parakeet can do that, what could a human do? So he's fantastic. What I was about to say is that a little bird, and I don't say that in an unendearing fashion, little.
No, he's little.
Bottom line is, this little guy, all on his own, has unlocked so many hearts.
That's for sure. Yeah. And I'll give you a couple factoids you'll enjoy. Nubs has a Facebook friend on every continent on the planet, including Antarctica. He is a penguin researcher that's in Antarctica. He also gets twice as many hits on Google as the man who hoarded him. So, it just shows you that, we have reporters call us up and say, hey, is Nubs available for a story? I mean, he's really captured the attention of a lot of people. And you know what? When you can take a bad story like that of animal abuse and turn that around into something positive, that's a once in a lifetime, So it's a fantastic thing. And, it's really nice to see. I think as bird owners, we recognize that all birds are special. It's really cool to see the general public, whether they have birds or not. Many of the people on our Facebook page don't have birds. They just love Nubs. And that's how it should be, right? You shouldn't have to have a bird to love birds and care about their treatment. So I think that's what we bring. That's a little bit special is, you should just care about anything just because it's a living creature. And that's what we try to, endorse.
I'm wondering how many people that you mentioned that, that don't have birds that love Nubs. Yeah. How many people that have become aware of Nubs have decided that it would be really, really awesome and perhaps have gone to a rescue or someplace and adopted a bird and given them a forever home. There's a lot of magic in what you do here and the potential. And what I'm seeing, on the outer ring of things, so to speak, is that when I said earlier, you got a superstar there, and
and I don't know how many. I don't know. I think people have. I definitely think current bird owners who are going to buy a bird switch to adopt a bird. I also think that, and not because we tell them to do that. I don't tell anybody what to do. I don't walk in anybody else's shoes. But I have gotten neat stories of people saying, I was going to buy a bird, now I'm adopting a bird. Or, my favorite one was somebody who used to smoke, and they quit smoking because we were talking about Nubs' lungs and having clean air and making sure that everything was clean. And he thought about it and go, wait a minute, I'm smoking. My birds are in here. What am I doing? So we've had some really cool stories. My favorite are the ones that I get from social workers and psychologists that tell me that they're using our program with the kids that they work with. And to me, that's like the biggest thing of all. So we're actually coming out with a new book in 2014. So we're really excited about that. And we're coming out with a bunch of tools now for teachers and educators and social workers and stuff to use with kids as well. That will be tools to go along with these stories as well. So we've got a lot of stuff coming up in 2014, actually, that's going to build on this whole thing. This year was a year of figuring out who we are, and now it's like, okay, now what do we do with it? So we have some really fun ideas, I think, and cool stuff that we're going to do. And the next book actually is not about Nubs. It's about a different bird. So I think it's going to be pretty amazing, actually, and it's neat. So, it kind of started with Nubs, but it's not going to live and die with Nubs. It's because there's so many birds like Nubs, right. And there's so many kids like Nubs, to be honest, that's where we want to take it to. This isn't about birds, it's about all of us.
We've got a canary that's like Nubs, and she's just beautiful, the songs that she sings.
Mm-hmm.
Bless your heart. Go on.
Kristen, I want to ask you really quick, where can people donate to your cause?
Oh, well, most of our donations come by way of ordering the products that we have. So we have the Nubs book. We have a really, really cute 2014 Nubs and Friends calendar. That's actually almost sold out, but that has all rescue birds, and it's really funny. It's cute. And also we have a almost sold out as well, Loves the Nubs t-shirt. So we only have limited sizes of those. But if you go onto our website, you can see the other products we have. We're also going to have an auction in the spring. It'll probably be in May that we offer, kind of one-of-a-kind, unique things. So normally made by artisans or people that are part of our group. And so that's the kind of stuff that we do. So people are welcome to do a straight donation, and we have a donate. Oh, there we go. My social media budgie Dean is posting right now. We're to do a donation. So there are buttons where you can just donate, but there's also stuff, and that's a donation as well. So because again, we pool that right back into the good works that we're trying to do.